Listening. Charles Dickens. Reading and critical thinking. Oliver Twist. Charles Dickens. Dickens was born in 1812 into a good family in the south of England. When he was still a young boy, his father went to prison because he had got into debt. Charles went to London to earn money for the family. At the age of 12, he was working for 10 hours a day in a London factory. He saw how hard life was for poor people, and many of the ideas for the stories of his novels and the characters in them came from this time. After he left the factory, Dickens went to work as an office clerk, but he did not enjoy this. In 1834, he started work as a newspaper journalist. While he was working for the newspaper, he was also writing magazine stories about life in London. Instead of using his real name, he called himself Boz for these stories. He went on to write Oliver Twist in 1838 and Nicholas Nickleby in 1839. David Copperfield followed in 1850, A Tale of Two Cities in 1859, and Great Expectations in 1861. In Oliver Twist, Dickens shows the dark side of life in 19th century London. He describes the lives of child workers and life in the workhouse, where very poor people were sent to live and work. Oliver Twist. The boy who asked for more. Oliver Twist grew up in a workhouse because his mother had died when he was born. Life for the young boy was hard. When he asked for more food because he was hungry, he was punished. So, Oliver ran away to London. There, he met a boy called Jack Dawkins, who was in a gang of thieves. An old man, Fagin, had taught the gang how to be thieves, and Oliver went to live with them. One day, Oliver was with the gang when they tried to take something from a man's pocket. The man, Mr. Brownlow, caught them, but was kind and stopped the police from arresting Oliver. Instead, he took him back to his house and looked after him. Oliver lived happily with Mr. Brownlow until one of the gang, Bill Sikes, kidnapped him and took him back to Hagen. Oliver had to go with the gang when they broke into a country house belonging to Mrs. Miley and her niece Rose. The thieves were discovered and Oliver was shot. When Oliver told Mrs. Miley and Rose that he didn't want to be a thief, they believed him and invited him to live with them. One day, at their house, Oliver saw Fagin and another man called Mr. Monks looking at him through a window. Finally, the police arrested all of the gang. Oliver discovered that Monks was his half-brother. He wanted Oliver to be in trouble so that he would get all their father's money. In the end, Mr. Brownlow adopted Oliver, and they went to live with Mrs. Miley and Rose. Oliver found out that Rose was his mother's sister. And now, it's time for questions. Answer the following questions. 1. Where did Oliver Twist grow up and why? He grew up in a workhouse because his mother had died when he was born. 2. How was Brownlow kind to Oliver? He stopped the police from arresting Oliver. Instead, he took him back to his house and looked after him. 3. What did Oliver discover about monks? He discovered that Monks was his half-brother. They wanted Oliver to be in trouble because Monks would get all their father's money. 4. Who adopted Oliver and where did they live? Mr. Brownlow adopted Oliver and they went to live with Mrs. Miley and her niece Rose. 5. What's the moral of Oliver Twist? Bad people are punished, good people lead a happy life. 6. How should society look after children like Oliver today? Any society should put them in an orphanage, provide them with the knowledge and skills which enable them to earn their living in the future. Thanks for listening. With Nafham, learn easily and simply.